You don't have to be a great writer to write a great book. You can get help and get you a good book written.
Writing a book establishes you as a thought leader in your space. It gives you the ability to relay everything that you know, or some of the things that you know, into book form for people to grasp and to hold and to go back to.
They want what it is that you know, because they can't take you home with them. The things that you know that you leave within the pages of a book, they can.
I think people sell themselves short on what they know. There is something inside of you that God gave you to share with the world. Welcome back, everyone. I am Brian.
And I'm Michelle.
And this is Expertise Unleashed. And I am feeling festive today, Michelle, because we are in the holiday season.
Yeah.
And I am in the giving mood. So we wanted to discuss something today that's kind of near and dear to our hearts.
Yes, it is.
Which is books.
Absolutely.
And how a book can 100% make you an authority in the space that you want to go.
Absolutely.
And not only that, with that, you know, you can be able to monetize it as well in the business arena.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because for real, books last longer than people. And if you're really thinking about, when we talk about Expertise Unleashed, you know, books are one of those things that, you know, think about all of the books that have stuck around. You know, we think about Mark Twain. We think about Ernest Hemingway. We think about people like, you know, JFK. You know, like books have lasted much longer than they have, and so can yours. And so, yeah, today we're talking about unleashing your expertise in the pages of a book. So, if we're going to start, you want to kick it off?
I'll go ahead and kick it off. Not a problem at all. So, the first thing that it can do for you is what we like to call the authority advantage.
Yeah.
You know, it gives you authority. Writing a book establishes you as a thought leader in your space. It gives you the ability to relay everything that you know, or some of the things that you know, into book form for people to grasp and to hold and to go back to, you know. And it allows you, you know, if you're very good at what you do, it allows you to be a leader in your industry and establish that for you.
Absolutely. So, you know what? And here's one of the things that I love about that authority advantage is most of the time, a book is, not even most of the time, all of the time, you can talk about, share the things that you know, right? But most of the time, as you're talking or you're sharing things, most of the time, nobody can take you home with them. Right? You know, like, you know, your spouse and your kids can, but let's think about that. Most of the time, your spouse and your kids, they gonna get tired of you talking about that thing that you know, right?
Yes,
you know, there's gonna
definitely
be an exhaustion level that they're gonna get with it. However, you know, people who are looking for your bank of knowledge and your skill set and those types of things, they want what it is that you know. And most of the time, because they can't take you home with them, the things that you know that you leave within the pages of a book, they can. You know, that book, they can take with them, they can reference it, you know, and that's one of those things that, you know, that's the advantage, that authority advantage. You are able to, you put it in, once you say that you are an author, you know, an authority, Arthur, I-T-Y, authority, right. You know, that's one of those things that you have that nobody can ever take from you. It is yours. You have signed it. You've inked the deal on your authority once it's inside the pages of a book.
Yeah. And you know what? I think about probably the best teachers that I had, especially when I was probably first, second, third, and fourth grade. And I think about a lot of the books that they used when they were teaching us how to read. Mm-hmm. And I still remember them. For example, like our story, just to share a little bit of our story, we met in fourth grade.
Yeah.
Our fourth grade teacher was very creative. Mm-hmm. And remember, he would read those books to you. One of those books he read to us was Charlotte's Web.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't necessarily about, you know, somebody's expertise, but the writing was so good and it was so descriptive and the story was so compelling, you could see as you got older, as I grew older, the expertise in which that was written. He knew what he was talking about and he knew how to tell a story.
Yeah.
And it left an impression on me.
Yeah.
So then of course, they have the cartoon comes out or the movie or whatever, so you dig into it. But, that's what we're talking about when we're talking about creating authority in the space, is because you want people people will remember, like you said, that it is in the book, but it's what's inside of the book that's important, that leaves a mark on people. Because the thing about it is, whatever you're writing about and your expertise in the business space, whatever it is, if you can solve a problem,
Yeah.
it will always be valuable.
There you go. Yeah. Now, you know what? And okay, so let's talk about this too. So demonstrated expertise. When you talk about being able to solve a problem, and it will always be valued in the marketplace. That demonstrated expertise is you are identified as somebody who put the time and the energy into penning it in the book, because a lot of times people just don't do that.
Right.
Like you might know something. I always tell people, if you know how, show how. And sometimes that's the way that you're able to do it. When you put it in, when you actually put that pen to paper and you put that down into the pages of a book, that book we just said is gonna, it's gonna stay around longer than most people do. But you have that knowledge and expertise in a particular field. It signals to the audience as well as in, your industry peers that you invested the time and the effort to master your subject matter.
That's really, really good.
Yeah. And most of the time, like we see that master classes, right? You've seen master classes. The reason that they call them master classes, when you teach it to somebody else, you have spent at least 10,000 hours to master that particular field and become an expert in that industry. But when you pen it, you have mastered it, right? So you ink it down, and you have signified to the audience and again to your industry peers that you are a master in that particular industry. And a book signifies and builds the credibility around that.
Yes, yeah, 100%. Especially if you've been in an industry for a long period of time, and you've had a varied amount of experience. I think people are surprised, when they do write a book, and when they are able to put their knowledge and communicate their thoughts in a book about a particular subject, how people will respond to them, how people will react to it, and how well it's generally received. If the information is good, if the expertise is good, if the knowledge and guidance, if that's all good and it's all there, and you're solving a problem or an issue for people, and so then, credibility builds. But it also says, I have arrived as well, and so, we feel like there are a lot of people out there who have probably more than one book in them. What's that we used to say all the time? Everybody at least has one book in them that they can write, probably right now, especially if you have over 10,000 hours in the industry, or some, to that effect. So I think that's getting that down will go a long way, for your authority. I'm reminded of the scripture that said, when Jesus was speaking to the people at the end of that particular discourse of scripture, it said, the people were overwhelmed, like they were just, they were outdone because he thought as one that had authority. And now we know him as Jesus having authorities because he was God on the earth, Emmanuel, God with us in human form. But at the same time, he knew what he was talking about too.
Yeah.
He was a subject matter expert on everything that he talked about. So that's the type of authority you can command, when you write a book and you have the expertise, and you commit your time to putting it down.
Yeah. You know what? I always like to wrap a little data around some of the things that we say because it sets you apart, right? It sets you apart. So listen to this. When we talk about the significance of published authors, because not everybody does this, Not everybody does, and this is just how significantly you will stand out. Approximately 3% of individuals who start a novel, only 3% actually even complete it.
Wow.
Okay. Publication rates of those who finish writing the novel, only 0.6% actually have it published. Okay. And then going even further, industry insights tell us that approximately 49,500 writers and authors are working across various mediums, not exclusively in books. And that's in the United States. There are approximately 49,500 people. And you would think that there's more people than that have actually written books and writers. I'm like, is that all? Like, that can't be true. Is that number really right? A survey revealed recently that while over 50% of Americans believe that their life story is worthy of a book or a movie, only about 15% have started writing a book. I'm like, wow, the numbers are glaring. And in the United States, there are only 11% of the population. Only 1.1, not even 11, 1.1% of the population are published authors.
Wow. Those are staggering numbers.
Only 1.1% of the population. I'm like, wow. So that puts you in a very elite group because not everybody does this. So with that in mind, you establish authority. You have an authority advantage, right? An authority advantage. So let's talk about number 2.
Okay.
Legacy and impact.
Legacy and impact.
What do you want to leave behind?
Well, the one thing about it is that the book allows you to package your knowledge for future generations. Now, future generations seems like, okay, you know, my grandkids, kids, and all that, you know, and that is true, you know. But you know, we've worked with a lot of authors. Let me say, I'll say it like this: we've worked with a lot of authors, and even when I'm doing calls, they'll say, you know what, I really wanted to put this down, you know, so I can have something, you know, for my kids and for my grandkids, you know, and for people to let people know that I was here, you know, and I did this work, you know, and so because we know it will outlast, you know, now we're just in a data-driven, technology-driven society right now.
Yeah.
You know, but the fact of the matter is, at any point in time, a computer could crash, you know, anything could go down, but these books, you know, will stand the test of time.
They do.
I mean, you know, look at how long the scrolls were around, you know, and they were found and then translated, you know, into the Bible. So, you know, they will stand the test of time. And so now when you talk about impact, what you put in a book, you know, especially if you're able to help people with a problem or issue in a particular industry, whatever it is, when I think about impact, that's kind of what I kind of want to unpack now, because now when you show the ability to solve a problem or help people to become more efficient or be able to do this and that, especially in the business space or education, whatever it is, government, you know, now you're cooking with gas.
Yeah, absolutely. I always think about too that you've immortalized, you know, I think about all of the wonderful ideas that we have, right? You immortalize those ideas.
Yeah.
Like you take your knowledge, you turn it into a timeless artifact. And it now becomes a living record, right? It's a living record now. Now it is able to continue to make an impact, influence, evolve, you know, like somebody's perspective, the way that they're thinking, the way that they handle themselves, the way that they handle others. Just think about the way that things have continued to evolve over the course of our life. The Bible is still the number one selling book on record.
By far.
And how many lives have been changed because of it? You know, but that's what you get to do. I think about the way that knowledge, experiences, insights living on even after you're gone. You've been able to do that when you put it in the pages of a book. You know, that's part of the legacy that you get to leave behind. Even when you're thinking about passing on wisdom.
Yeah.
Come on now. Like, I think about, in families, when you think of, what was my great grandmother like? What was my great 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 grandmother and grandfather like? A lot of times there's things in the history books that we have learned about. Think about all of our heroes, our American heroes. When we think about things like Black History Month and different the decades of history and things like that. Some of the things that we learned about in our history, we know it because somebody wrote it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody acknowledged it. And because of them writing it down, they were able to pass it on. And we have it now as a legacy that we can pay tribute to. And that's one of the things that we want to make sure that we continue to do. What are we going to leave behind for those who are coming up behind us? And that's what the pages of a book gets to do.
Yeah, it's so true, because I think the numbers that you gave were actually pretty staggering. Because we've been doing this, the publishing, for a long time.
Yeah.
Just one of the things that we do. But I would think there would be more people than that.
I know.
I think though, people sell themselves short.
Absolutely.
On what they know. And, I would say, to people watching this, or just anybody in general, there is something inside of you that God gave you to share with the world.
Absolutely.
So then it becomes on you to, one, find out what that is. Do you know what that is? Do you know what your purpose is?
Yeah.
And why you're here, and then, like you said, legacy and impact.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I look at it this way. You owe it, even if it's just your family.
Behind you. Yeah.
I feel like you owe it to the world, but to me, I'm gonna just say your family. To put down what you know and share what you know and your knowledge and expertise. Like, our kids grow up, we teach our kids about working and taxes and all of these things. We may not necessarily put that in a book, but some of the things that you've done on your job and creating businesses and things like that, those are things you can put in the book along with that too.
Absolutely.
For people to have, so then you're talking about legacy and impact and doing those. But, for me, I think people sell themselves just a little bit short, because I heard a lot of people say, I really don't have anything to say, and that's not really true. It's just not true. It's not true that you don't have anything to say. You do have something to say. You just need to dig down in here and find out what it is, and put it in a book, and, you'll be surprised, like I said, at some of the reaction that you get, when you do that.
Absolutely. Here's another thing, and we don't even have this as something that we were going to share, but
It's okay. You can freestyle.
You want to amplify your impact too, right? Like, so when I think about, when we talk about unleashing your expertise, part of this is encouragement, and it is bona fide what we believe that the Lord has assigned us to do, right? The other part of that is we want people to know and exercise all the gifts and talents and skills that the Lord has placed on the inside of you for ministry, for the marketplace, and whatever that is. But part of amplifying your impact is also to be able to, you should be able to monetize what it is that the Lord has given you as well, right? So if there were 4 streams flowing into Eden, there should be 4 streams of income minimum flowing into your household.
Yes.
One of the ways that people utilize books is it's an income stream. It's a way that you are able to take the skills and expertise that you have, and you can utilize it as a tool, as a resource. It's a way, if you're helping people with those books, it's also a way that you bring those dollars back into even the storehouse. You're amplifying the skill that you have by sharing it with someone else, but it also brings income back into your household. So, and you're amplifying, when I'm saying that you're amplifying your impact, it also gives you an opportunity to go global, right? It gives you an opportunity to go outside of your household. It gives you an opportunity to share what it is that you know with other people who can help you, to help share what it is that you know with other people, other places, even on other platforms, for you to be able to continue to grow and to have impact outside of just how you're having impact currently. So when I think about some of the people that we've had the opportunity even to help, they've taken their books and done so many different things with them. It's been crazy to me, how people have been able to utilize books. They speak it, whether they're speaking on stages, whether they are taking those books and utilizing them for resources inside of organizations and companies, whether they are using those books to support schools for education materials or using them in different ways. Those books are doing much more than just living on the inside of your head as knowledge.
Yeah.
It now becomes something that knowledge can be used for other people as well. And so you can maximize that you can amplify that influence in the pages of a book well past just what you're doing with it, just by knowing that information and keeping it to yourself.
I would definitely agree. So, with that being said, now I reference people selling themselves short.
Absolutely.
So let's kind of transition into, what overcoming myths, about writing a book.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's throw out just a couple of common ones. I'm not a writer, or I don't have time, or this is not for me. Let's kind of talk about that a little bit, because a lot of people are in their heads about writing a book. We've published a lot of people who didn't think they could do it, and they did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So let me unpack the first one. I'm not a writer. Do you know how many people do you know that are not singers but may hit songs? I heard people tell me, you know what? Janet Jackson wasn't the best singer, so to speak. She could dance like nobody's business. And she probably did all right. In the studio, she probably did a lot better, right? Got help. Got help. And she came out with songs and was singing and dancing, doing all kind of stuff major. So what I tell people when it comes to I'm not a writer, you don't have to write. If you got an idea about something that is sellable, that is marketable, get help. That's what I'm going to tell you hands down. You do not have to be a writer to put out a good book, a good sellable book. What I would say is bring the idea forward. Let's talk that idea through. Let's see if it is meeting a need in the marketplace, in the industry. And then let's put the people around you to help you get that book written and done. There are ghostwriters out there. We got some really good ghostwriters, but there's some good ghostwriters out there. A lot of people want to go to AI and pull out, like let AI write the book. I would tell you AI is good, but AI is general. So unless you're prompting AI really, really good to give you back really good content, you need some expertise to even to tell AI what kind of content you want to get back.
It's definitely an art to it.
So I would tell you that not necessarily to have AI write your book for you, but I would tell you to get you a good coach or get you a good ghostwriter to help you to create the book that's going to sell. And find out if the idea that you have, make sure that it meets the need for the marketplace. Because the best thing to do is to write a book for people who are looking to buy it. Because we have worked with a lot of people who have written books, and I don't want you to have boxes of books sitting in your garage, just being boxes of books sitting in your garage. That's not the intent for a book. We want you to write a book that's going to get sold. So that's important. But you don't have to be a great writer to write a great book. I want you just to know that you can get help and get you a good book written. You don't have to be a good writer to get it done, though.
Yeah, and I would add to that. Honestly, we all remember now. We're a certain age, but I remember
good age.
we're good age, but I remember having to do book reports, in school, and so I'm just going to say this: if you did a book report in school and you made a little outline and you wrote your little paragraphs and you turned your book in, you can start right there. You were actually writing then in elementary school. So, and it's even easier now because we have all the tools. Like, we've done this stuff. So we know we can help people, and coach and train people on how to do it, just as you mentioned. But if you did a book report in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, you definitely can write a book. Yeah. So let's talk about the time thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because we hear this ad nauseum. I don't have time. I've got kids. I have all these other commitments. I have this and that. And in the previous episode, we talked about doing a time inventory. And I would ask you to do the same thing. If God, again, has given you something, or he's blessed you with the ability to do well in the marketplace with the expertise, to me, again, I believe you owe it to yourself to put it down and have it as a permanent work in a book. So again, there's 168 hours. I'm going to say this over and over again. Everybody has the same 168 hours in a week to use. The thing is, we all have our commitments, priorities, and things of that nature. But there is at least 30 minutes to an hour for you to at least just start jotting down, what it is that you are good at, what you know. Because if you have trouble communicating what you know, just writing it down, then we have another issue we need to talk about. Yeah. But let's just say, for example, you are in sales. Okay, what do you do? How do you unlock people when you first meet somebody, when you're cold calling somebody, or when you meet somebody for the first time? Write that down. It can be developed, and we have people that can help you do that. So that you can do that in an hour or less. As far as time goes. So to me, do a time inventory, see what you have, block out the time, and just get started. Yeah. To me, it's really just that simple.
Yeah. All right. So check this out. If you are not a time person, or you have a little bit of time, I'm getting ready to give you a really quick tip. One, I want you to go to the website, and the link is down in the chat. Go to the website. I want you to get our writing checklist. We've got a real quick, smooth, easy write your book checklist. You can just download it on the website, write your book in 1, 2, 3. Okay. This is going to be real easy. And one of the things that it has in there is our very favorite app that you can talk the book. Okay. Listen, you don't even have to write the book if you don't want to. You can speak the book. Okay. So I don't even want you to feel famished if you can't find that 30 minutes. You can find time to talk it. So if you riding in your car, if you sitting up in your bed, if you got your phone and you've been scrolling on Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever your thing is, Instagram, if you can do that, then you can talk in your phone and you can speak your book and you can get it done. And it has all of the tools and prompts in there. So if you go to the website, you will be able to get exactly what you need to, whether you can write it or you need to speak it, you can get it done. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. You can have that book written and it's easy.
Absolutely. Well, let's jump into the last one.
Okay.
Let's talk about blueprints to begin.
Okay.
And so, simple framework, for identifying the topic and audience for your book. Let's just start there because, I wanted to say this too. Now I reference a lot, because my parents were both teachers, educators, and so repetition is a big deal in education. So I will repeat some things a lot, but it's always for a purpose. So you have to identify what your expertise is and then who your expertise will help. Mm-hmm. Who will this book help? Mm-hmm. What problem am I solving? I think that is a great place to start, especially for people to say, like we said, they say, I'm not a writer.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go.
Yeah.
What's your expertise and what problem are you solving?
Yeah.
How am I going to become a solution to someone's problem is an excellent place to start. And then, like you said, they can go and get the materials that we have.
Yeah.
But that begins the framework for putting together your thoughts, your notes, your outlines for what your book is going to be, because it then begins to unlock something inside of you from not even from a creative perspective, just on what you know.
Yeah.
Okay, I did this in the marketplace. I did this on my job. I did this, that, and this. Okay, so I know this, and this will help people. And as you begin to do those things and start to create that framework, the book almost organically starts to come together, if I can say that.
Yeah, it does. You know what? Brian, you said it exactly, really, because that's how you come up with that blueprint. Because if it is something that you do, that you can take people through the steps of doing it themselves, you've got a framework, you've got a blueprint, you've got a roadmap that you can show somebody else how to do that same thing, go through this process, then that's what your book becomes. And so that's really what Expertise Unleashed really is. It makes it easy for you to be able, if you can explain it to somebody, you'll hear me often say, if you know how, you can show how. And a lot of times being able to show somebody how is just writing it down. And then if you can write it down, you can identify who needs this help. And that's what Brian is saying. That's what Brian is saying is just, who needs this help. And once you identify that, man, you've got something. Put it in the pages of a book, make an ebook out of it. Maybe you don't want to sell it to somebody in a paperback form. Maybe you want to show it to them in an ebook form. Maybe you want to teach a class with it. That's one of the things that's real. Oh my gosh. Y'all, I'm about to go crazy, because when I think about amplifying your impact, books turn into all kind of stuff. They turn into courses, they turn into coaching, they turn into all kinds of stuff. So let me just bring myself down, because y'all get me started and I might fly up out of here. So
we're going to touch on that in the upcoming episode.
Okay. Let's do it in another episode.
But anyway, like I said, just something real quick that anybody can do. Mm-hmm. You know what? If you want to be intentional about this and you feel like that you're being led to write a book in regard to your expertise, I just simply need you to do this. Stop by a store, get a notebook, get a pen, designate that just for thoughts and notes for you to write down. I'm a doodler. Michelle will tell you, in our office, I got 1 million pieces of paper I have written notes and things on. And, that's kind of my process for putting things together. So I would just challenge you to do that. Just start there. That's something very simple. Go get a notebook, go get a pen, and just start making notes and writing down things. And then you'll start seeing things come together. And then, like I said, there's all help and tools and things like that for people to get. But let's just start there. That's an action that you can take today. Right now.
This has been Expertise Unleashed. Make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe. We would love to hear from you. So drop any comments down in the comments below. And I'm going to turn it over to Brian.
Some people are meant to build small businesses. Some people are meant to build big businesses, and some people are meant to create empires. Which one are you?